Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
It's the Wabash Valley Forum. It's the top two teams in the Western Conference going at it. Welcome to Terre, Haute. It's the Fostoria Railroaders traveling to Terre. Haute. Let's take a look at Isaiah Hill. The points per game. Looking good this season. I can't lie. He's looking good, and he's looking really good this season. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. Starting with Fostoria, they have Quentin Gill, Noah Washington, Jason Gardner Jr., Justin Curry, and Jacob Chalet. And for the Arrows, it's Bryce Wren, Brady Klopfenstein, Zach Ellett, Tyler Wren, and Isaiah Hill. Quentin Gill getting his first ever start in Terre Haute. We are underway. We are underway here from the Wabash Valley Forum. Ellett gives it to Wren. Back to Wren. Now it's Tyler Wren with it. To Klopfenstein. Brady Klopfenstein will miss. Chalet rebound. Chalet gives it to Gill. Now it's Gardner Jr. Now it's Washington. Noah Washington to Gardner Jr. for three. Jason Gardner Jr. for three. By Quentin Gill, the former North Unite manager. Now he is here playing. Here is Zach Ellett. Puts it up. Misses. Washington rebound. Here's Chalet. Back to Gill. Gill getting covered by Bryce Wren. Now it's Gardner Jr. putting it in for two. This Fostoria team has the talent to beat this Terre Haute team, but will it happen? Here's Klopfenstein. Klopfenstein looks. Pass to Hill. Hill will miss. Gardner Jr. rebound. Here's Jason Gardner. He has a ball. Back to Chalet. Now it is Gill. Back to Gardner. Here we go. Missed three by the Railroaders. And now here's a pass from Ellett to Hill, and the Arrows are on the board. And now here's Gill. Big pass to Chalet. Jacob Chalet with the slam. Chalet's been really good. Here's Zach Ellett now. Back to Wren. Back to Ellett. Pass to Klopfenstein. Brady Klopfenstein for three. It's a 2-point game. Washington, it's Noah Washington has it. Pass to Chalet. Big pass to Gill. Quentin Gill up, misses. Here is Brady Klopfenstein. The pass to Ellett. Cap Ellett looks, puts up, misses. Washington with the rebound. Pass to Curry. Justin Curry has it. Pass back to Washington. Noah Washington to Curry. Back to Washington. Washington will miss the three. Big passes from the Arrows. Now it's Cap Ellett who has the ball. Cap looks, goes up, he will score. We are tied at 7. Whenever Zach Ellett gets hot, the Arrows are hotter. Gill to Chalet. Jacob Chalet will miss. Here's Ellett with the rebound. Ellett back to Klopfenstein. Now it's Tyler Wren. Wren to Wren. Bryce Wren will miss the three. Washington rebound. Noah Washington passing Gardner Jr. Gardner has it. Back to Gill. Gill covered by Wren. Pass to Curry. To Gardner Jr. for three. Jason Gardner Jr. for 3. Now it's Cap Ellett. Timeout. Terre Haute. The Arrows call a timeout. 3-point game. Fostoria up by 3. Back from Terre Haute. Take a look at the league leaders in points this season. Wayne Ingram, Isaiah Hill, and Zach Ellett, the top 3. The Arrows always have looked good here at home. Now, here we go. Bryce Wren with it. Now it's Julian Vogt. Vogt. Back to Delk. It's Harvey Delk. Back to Vogt. Julian Vogt. Back to Klopfenstein. Klopfenstein will miss. Now here's Justin Curry. Big pass to Gardner Jr. Gardner Jr. will go up and score. The last time these two teams played, Fostoria won 74-67. Here's Vogt. Back to Klopfenstein. Klopfenstein for 3. Klopfenstein is always good. Now here's Knox Madsen. Getting covered by the defense. Here's Washington. Washington back to Gardner Jr. Curry there. Here's Gardner again. Gardner to Curry. Justin Curry for 2. Julian Vogt for the pass from Delk. Here's Vogt. Pass to Klopfenstein. Pass to Hill. Off the backboard. Curry with the takeaway. Washington with it. He will lose it. Delk with the steal. Now it's Curry with the steal. Here's Washington for 2. Can't put it in. Woods rebound. Here's Madsen. Pass to Washington. Railroaders keep the ball. Noah Washington misses a 3. Julian Vogt with the rebound. Here's Vogt. Pass to Hill. Hill goes up. Misses. Aiden Woods rebound. Curry to Washington. Noah Washington has it. Noah Washington will miss a 3. Hill rebound. Now here's Klopfenstein for 3. Misses a shot. It's 14-10 after the first quarter. We will be back for the Wabash Valley Forum. We welcome you back to Terre Haute. We are seeing a fantastic game indeed. Woods gives it to Madsen as we see the Railroaders up by 4. Levi Walker now with it. Walker back to Madsen. Knocks Madsen for 2. Madsen's down there with Levi Walker. Then it's Aiden Wood. Here's Julian Vogt. Vogt with it, getting covered by the defense. Here's Delk. Back to Miller. Jahari Miller to Delk. Hurry, Delk for 2. Chalet gives it to Madsen. 16-12 now. It's Fostoria leading. Here's Fennell. Cam Fennell from Terre Haute North High School. He's born here in Wabash Valley. Look at the shot, missed, and it's Ridgeway that picks up the ball. Here's Julian Vogt with it. Vogt back to Delk. Harvey Delk for 3. And the Arrows are back within 1. Here's Madsen. Takes it himself back to Fennell. Pass to Walker. Levi Walker misses a 3. Vogt with the rebound. Big pass to Cap. It's Cap Ellett with it. Ellett looks in for the score, and the Arrows lead it here in the second quarter. Knox Madsen has it. Timeout Fostoria. A big comeback for the Arrows. Back live here from Terre Haute. Take a look at the league leaders' assists per game the last 30 games, the last 30 days. It's been Galloway. How about the Galloway Blue Rockets leading that? This is a small stadium for Terre Haute. Here is Madsen. Back to Walker. Walker has it. Back to Gill. It's Quentin Gill getting covered by Ridgway. Quentin Gill. He will score. Put 2 on the board for Quentin Gill. Now it's Julian Vogt. He has the ball here. Back to Ellett. Zach Ellett goes up. He will score. Cap Ellett will respond with the 2 of his own. Here's Madston now. Madston back to Gardner Jr. Gardner with the ball. Back there to Madston. Misses a 3. Gill rebound. Levi Walker for 3. Walker gets it back and will get the 3. Vogt back to Ridgway. The pass to Wren. Tyler Wren with the slam. We are all tied up at 21. Here's Madsen. Pass for Chalet. Madsen to Walker. Back to Chalet. Chalet looks. Keeping it himself for 2. He makes it. Timeout, Terre Haute. Arrows call a timeout. 2:49 left in the first half. Great game going on here from the Wabash Valley Forum. We are back live here from Terre Haute, Indiana, the home of the Arrows. The Arrows down by 2 to the Railroaders of Fostoria. Bryce Wren is into the game for the Arrows. Here's Ridgway giving it to Vogt. It's Julian Vogt with it. Pass to Kloppenstein. Vogt with it. Ridgway looks. Now here's Bryce Wren. He has the ball. Wren looking around. Now it's Julian Vogt. Vogt keeps the ball himself. He looks. Going up. Back to Bryce Wren. Wren to Vogt again. Here's Julian Vogt. This time keeping it himself. Back to Bryce Wren. He takes it for 3. The Arrows are up by 1 after the Bryce Wren 3-pointer. Madston to Gardner Jr. Here's Gardner Jr. going up for 2. He makes the shot, and the Railroaders are back up in front. So far, we've had 6 lead changes and 2 ties. Here's Julian Vogt with it. Vogt back to Wren. Bryce Wren for 3. There's a 7th lead change tonight. Here's Madston. Madston looks back to Curry. Now it's Knox again. Madston with it. Keeps it himself. Misses. Garner rebound. Jason Garner Jr. for 3. No, for 2. We are all tied up. I thought that was a 3. No, that was a 2-pointer. Tied at 27. Vogt now has it. Vogt Back to Wren. Bryce Wren makes the 2. Now, here's Knox Madsen. He looks back to Garner Jr. He makes a 3. Jason Garner Jr. for 3. Now, here we go. Vote back with it. Vote back to Wren. Bryce Wren misses. How about the other day? This Fostoria team lost to Centerton. That was just yesterday. Here's Gardner. Gardner Jr. will miss. Fostoria did stay in a hotel because that game was in Centerton. Tyler Wren with the slam, and the Arrows lead it again. Here's Madsen. Pass to Gill. Quentin Gill. Back to Madsen. Knocks Madsen for 3. Wren to vote. He holds it, and it's going to be Fostoria who leads it by 2. Going into the Nova Rain halftime show. Great game from Terre Haute. But we ain't done yet. Second half coming your way in a few minutes. Welcome to the halftime show, the Nova Rain halftime show. Jason Garner Jr. tonight has been outstanding. Jacob Chalet as well, but most importantly, Garner Jr. with those 3s. Astronaut RA44555 said, it's okay to eat sushi when you buy at a gas station. No, it's not okay to eat sushi if you bought it at a gas station. Buy it at a sushi place, not at a gas station. I mean that's smart. That's smart thinking right there. Back to this game. Garner Jr. leads Fostoria with 17 of their 33 points, but Bryce Wren has 8. Let's send you back out to the Wabash Valley Forum. Welcome back to Terre Haute. We are seeing a great game here tonight. Fostoria up by 2. It's time to look at the guy we need to watch out for in the second half. It's Jason Garner Jr. His first half was amazing, guys. 17 first half points, multiple 3s and multiple 2s. He's been great. Now here we go. Chalet gives it back to Gill. Second half is underway. Gill back to Chalet. Jacob Chalet looks back to Washington. Noah Washington will miss. Bryce Wren with it. Wren keeps it himself. Pass to Ellett. Zach Ellett goes up. Misses a 2. Quentin Gill with the rebound. Gill back to Garner Jr. Jason Garner Jr. will miss the 3. Isaiah Hill with the rebound. And there's something else happening in this game. It's a battle between Ellett and Gill. Here's Zach Ellett, covered by Quentin Gill. Now it's Bryce Wren with it. Bryce Wren goes up for 3. He will miss. Chalet rebound. It's a friendly competition to see who will outdo each other between Quentin Gill and Zach Ellett. Garner will miss a 3. It's a foul on Jacob Chalet, and it's going to be Arrow's ball. It's a loose ball foul by Chalet. Ellett gives it to Wren. Back to Ellett. Zach Ellett goes up. He will put it in. Game tied at 33. The first point of the quarter goes to Terre Haute. Now it's Justin Curry with it. Curry has the ball. Back to Gill. Gill getting covered. Now it's Garner. Jason Garner will miss the 3. Wren gives it to Hill. Hill back to Wren. Bryce Wren has the ball. Back to Ellett. Zach Ellett for 3. Half Ellett for 3. Gill has it. Back to Chalet. Pass to Curry. Back to Gill. Is Gill going to take it himself? Yes, he is. Quentin Gill will miss the three. Hill with the rebound. Hill to Ellett. Zach Ellett with the slam. Second half, Ellett is going off. Gardner Jr. with it. He has the ball. Listen to the crowd in Terre Haute. Gardner Jr. Back to Gill. Here's Quentin Gill. Gill keeps it himself. Back to Gardner. Gardner Jr. misses the three. Isaiah Hill there. Now it's Zach Ellett. Ellett to Hill. It's a foul by Quentin Gill. It's a shooting foul at the line for two. It's going to be Isaiah Hill. That was a lot of words. Can you guys process it? Here is Isaiah Hill at the line for two. Hill, first free throw is good. And torn ACL by Galloway's Paul Morgan. And he's pretty much out for the rest of the year. Isaiah Hill with it. Hill, second free throw is good. Timeout Fostoria as the Terre Arrows, led by Zach Ellett, is on fire. They're up by 7. Back live from the Wabash Valley Forum. Taking a look at the league leaders in field goal percentage this season, Zach Ellett leads it over Isaiah Hill. And the last time I checked the MVP race, it was Hill that was leading, but then it changed. Zach Ellett is now leading the MVP race, which is well deserved. Here's Washington, pass back to Curry. Back to Gardner Jr. Now it's Noah Washington with it. 1 3-pointer gets it back in the game. Here's Gill. Back to Chalet. Chalet holds it. Hill covering. Back to Gill. Now it's Washington. Chasing Gardner Jr. And he will miss the three. Wren to Klovenstein now. Klovenstein and the dunk missed, but rebounded by Hill. Hill for two. It's 42-33. Here's Quentin Gill now. Gill gives it to Curry. Curry with it, covered by Wren, Tyler Wren. Now here's Quentin Gill. Quentin Gill for two. Fostoria will finally score in the second half. Here's Bryce Wren. Holds it. Now it's Klovenstein. Klovenstein back to Tyler Wren. Tyler Wren with it. Back to Ellett. Zach Ellett looks, covered by Curry. Zach Ellett for three. Zach Ellett has 16 points tonight. Here's Quentin Gill. Back to Noah Washington. Washington with it. Washington to Gill. Quentin Gill with the slam. Now here's Zach Ellett. Timeout Arrows. But Zach Ellett is going off in the second half. He has 16 points tonight. 45-37 is your score. Back live. Here we go. Look at the standings. The top two. Yes, you guessed it. It's Terre Haute Arrows and the Fostoria Railroaders. The top two in the West. Man, these two teams are really fun to watch. And it's showing up here tonight. Here's Dell. Gives it to Ridgeway. Ridgeway with it. Back to Vogt. Julian Vogt. Back to Delt. Harvey Delt goes up for two. It's a flying layup. Great shot. Yeah, great put in. A great shot by Harvey Delt. 10-point game. Here's Walker. Levi Walker. Back to Chalet. Jacob Chalet. He will miss the three. Anticlimactic there. Here's Zach Ellett. Ellett getting covered. Back to Ridgeway. Full Ridgeway for two. Now, here's Levi Walker. He has it. Getting covered by Bryce Wren. Woods covering. Here's Walker. Walker tried to take it himself. He couldn't. Covered by the defense. Here's Woods. Woods goes up. Looks to score. Now it's Madsen. Misses the three. Here's Bryce Wren. Wren to Ridgeway. Full Ridgeway for two. 51-37. Arrows dominating in the second half. Here's Madsen. Madsen looks. Keeps to himself. Seconds running down. Jacob Chalet for three. Chalet for three. Julian Vogt keeps it, but it's an 11-point game for Terre Haute. The Arrows lead it by 11, entering the final quarter of play. Only 7 points scored in the third by the Railroaders. Back live here from Terre Haute. Time for the State Farm assist of the game. Ridgeway, the pass to Wren and the slam. That was Tyler Wren. Now here is Jahari Miller. Gives it to Vogt. Vogt with it. Julian Vogt keeps it himself, goes up, and is fouled all the way up by Knox Madsen. At the line for two, it will be Julian Vogt, and that will start off the fourth quarter. Yeah, so apparently Terre Haute has to now shoot free throws to start the fourth quarter. (52-40). Now here's Julian Vogt with it. Vogt makes both. It's 53-40 now. Now here's Gill. Quentin Gill. Gill back to Gardner. Jason Gardner Jr. misses the three. Here's Wren with the rebound. Back to Vogt. Vogt with it. Back to Ridgeway. Ridgeway puts it in for two. Great shot by Paul Ridgeway. And Gill gives it to Madsen. Madsen has it. Looks, now it's Woods. Now it's Gill. Quentin Gill misses the two. Ridgeway rebound. Here's Kloppenstein with it. Back to Ridgeway. Ridgeway looks, now it's Vogt. Julian Vogt with it. Back to Wren. Back to Kloppenstein. Kloppenstein for three. Time out Fostoria.
Timeout away team.
Back live from Terre Haute. 18-point game, 18-point lead, though, for the Arrows. And this Fostoria team cannot find a way to score in the second half against this Arrows squad. Here's Madston now with it. Madston back to Woods. Woods to Gill. Gill covered by Ridgway. Quentin Gill goes up, will miss the two. Ridgway rebound again. Ridgway keeps it. Pass to Miller. Now it's Jahari Miller. Pass it Clough inside. Keeps it himself. Inside. Will score. 20-point lead. Woods gives it to Walker. Here's Levi Walker now. Walker looks, goes inside, and he will throw it away. It's going back to Terre Haute. Terrible pass, and it's a timeout by the Arrows. 20-point game, 4 minutes left. Now back live from the Wabash Valley Forum. It is turning into a blowout here from Terre Haute. Zach Ellett is back on the court. That, folks, might not be good news for Fostoria. About Galloway destroying Marion. Zach Ellett with it. Pass to Hill, Isaiah Hill to Bryce Wren. Wren back to Cap. Zach Ellett holds it. Covered by Curry. I think that's Curry, yeah. That's Justin Curry. Big cover on Zach Ellett. Now it's Bryce Wren. He will miss. Madston rebound. Madston goes up. And he will score. Fostoria finally will score in the fourth quarter. Here's Julian Vogt, back to Bryce Wren. Wren to Vogt again. Back to Ellett. It's Zach Ellett, back to Bryce Wren. He will miss the three. Curry rebound. Curry back to Chalet. Here's Chalet, back to Madston. Knox Madston looks to keep it. He does, keeping it himself. Back to Washington. Washington misses the three. Now it's Julian Vogt with the rebound. Vogt to Ellett. Zach Ellett looks back to Wren. It's Tyler Wren. Now it's Julian Vogt. Vogt keeping it himself. Back to Ellett. Zach Ellett will miss the three. It's Jacob Chalet with the rebound. Chalet, big pass to Washington. Now it's Gill. Puts it in for two. Quentin Gill for two. Noah Washington with the assist. Time. We are back here from Terre Haute. Live from the Wabash Valley Forum, Zach Ellett is your player of the game, and that is not even a question. Zach Ellett has owned the Railroaders tonight. 60-44. 2:14 left to go in the game. Now here we go. It's Cap Ellett with it. Zach Ellett, the player of the game, back to Bryce Wren. Wren keeps it. Back to Hill. Isaiah Hill Misses a three. Almost went in. Gardner to Washington. Back to Gardner Jr. Jason Gardner Jr. has the ball. Back to Washington. Noah Washington looks. Misses. Wren, big pass to Cap. Ellett holding it himself. Less than a minute 30 left. Kloppenstein goes up, keeps it, will miss the two. It's Curry with the rebound. Now it's Washington. Washington for three. Here's Wren. Back to Hill. Hill, now it's Wren. Cap, now it's Kloppenstein. Kloppenstein to Wren. Rice, Wren answers back with his own three. Now it's Noah Washington. Back to Gill. Gill to Gardner Jr. Jason Gardner Jr. for three. 13-point game. Now here's Bryce Wren to Cap Ellett. Zach Ellett for two. That barely went in as well. Time runs out. Here is Quinn Gill. Back to Jacob Chalet. To Noah Washington. He will miss. Wren with the rebound. Gill covering. Wren back to Cap Ellett. Zach Ellett with it. Back to Kloppenstein. Kloppenstein to Wren. Rice, Wren for three. Now here's Quinn Gill. Holds it, and that will do it. Terre Haute hangs on. They will win by 18. Zach Ellett will win the matchup between him and Quentin Gill. Great game for the Wabash Valley Forum. Terre Haute hangs on. Once again, it's Zach Ellett, the player of the game. Multiple threes, and he owns Fostoria.